Today we're going to talk about a mental technique that will help you stay calm, remain focused when it's time to go to battle. Hello race drivers, this is Enzo with the Race Driver Coach Show. Mental techniques. You need a toolbox of mental techniques in order for you to perform at your best. Now, as you know, I believe or I know that at the epicenter of your performance is the mind. If you can perform as you can, if you can access your skills in the heat of the battle, how good are you going to be? Because there's no point just being able to do it in testing, in training, in practice. But then when it comes to qualifying, when it comes to the race, you crumble, you choke, and you just cannot access them skills that got you into that car in the first place. You see it all the time. You see drivers pound around all day and do a good lap time. But then when it comes to that 15-minute qualifying session or that run or that last lap in qualifying, they either overdrive, underdrive, make mistakes, stress, worry, and they're just not in the rhythm. Or you see it when a driver's at the very front of the grid, they're on pole position, and all of a sudden they go from this confident person to worrying about what if it doesn't go right. Or they feel chased rather than chasing, and it puts them in defense mindset. And you see it a lot, actually. You see when a driver gets pole position, just an example, and as soon as they cross the line, it comes over the radio from their engineer that they're pole position. They are ecstatic. They're over the moon. But then before they've even finished their cool down lap and come into the pits, they're already feeling a little bit freaked out because they've now got to start on pole position. And they start to go down the road of thinking, what if I don't get this right? My starts for the last 5 race weekends have not been very good. And they start to attach their identity to that position and become very protective and worry about worst case scenarios. And before you know it, they're stressed. They're not actually really that happy about being pole position. It's great for the Instagram post. It's great to say that you're on pole position, but really they're freaking out on the inside because they're worried about screwing it up. Amazing, right? You think these race drivers are bulletproof. You think they've got they're warriors, but they're really just as vulnerable as anybody else, just as insecure as the next person. So I just want to talk about today a mental technique, and it's breathing, by the way. We're going to talk about breathing technique that will just calm things down and allow your mind to just be focused, because that's what we want, right? Having the skills but not accessing them when you need to, it's a death rattle to anybody's career. You've got to be able to access your skills when you're in the heat of battle, not just because that allows you to be at your best and get the best results, but because hardly anyone else is doing it. You know what I mean? You're sharing the grid of everybody else that's freaking out and not allowing themselves to perform, standing in their own way mentally. So if you don't, my God, you're at least going to be at your best, but you'll outperform people that are technically better, that have got more experience, because you can perform on demand when they struggle. You see mistakes in races that are just crazy, but usually it's because the driver is so tense, so worried, and they're rushing things. They're not enabling themselves to flow and be at their best. And you can see this whether it's on a phone, you're on your phone, you open up an app, on a game, it's a reaction one or it's a football one or something that requires you to be in the rhythm in order to get a good score or to win the match. And if you're just not really thinking about it and you're kind of relaxed, it's amazing how you can win or get your best score. But then if you're really furious, you're emotional, you can find yourself getting angst and making the silly mistakes. We do it in life. Making a presentation, you can do it. Going to meet someone, you can do it. Being in a race car, being on a tennis court, you can see the amount of people that are good in practice but not in competition. I want you to avoid that, and that's what we're going to do today. So breathing, because you know that we're pretty much driven by emotions, right? Emotions come in, which is like a motivation or fear. 2 emotions: worry, anxiety, depression, happiness, relaxed. All these are emotions. state of mind, should we say, that you're in. And you know, in order to get the best out of yourself, you've pretty much got to be at one with where you are. You've got to be in the now. You've got to be present. And you've got to focus the mind on what it needs to do in order to execute what's just about to happen. And it's getting away from you wrapping up your identity with your results. It's getting away from what if it doesn't go well? What if this happens? What will people think? And more focusing on telling the mind what it needs to do. Give it some clear instructions in a very calm way and allow it to perform. This is one of the most vital secrets to success. And I believe, and I've found, and I've learned off other amazing coaches and psychologists, that there's really two parts of an emotion, a mental state. And it's one is the physiology, the body. You've heard me say this before, and how you hold that and operate that in order to create a mental state. And also on the other side, the second thing is the focus. That's like self-talk, what you're thinking, what you're focusing on. That's the actual brain side of it. So we've got the mind and the body. I want to mostly talk about the body here, because the physiology, if you change that, if you have it in a way that embodies a certain emotion, then it controls the mind. For example, and you've heard me say this as well, think of somebody now who is supremely relaxed. Just picture them in your mind. What do you think their breathing will be like if they're just sat on a beach relaxed? How do you think their muscle tension is? Are they tense, or is their body, their muscles relaxed? Is their facial expression relaxed or tensed and looking angry? Your mind is always looking down upon you to say, just give me some stimulus. What do you want me to be in? What state of mind do you want me to be in? And if you're holding a body that looks relaxed, the muscles, the breathing are relaxed, then it will follow. If you're looking very tense, you're rigid, you're upright, then it will go to fear or whatever the mind is focusing on. So I want you to be in that race car when you're just about to perform and create the mindset you want through your body. Obviously, there's focus, but we're not going to speak about that so much today. It's all about what you're doing with your breathing, to be more precise. Now, emotions are mostly kept up on, there's two parts of breathing that are linked to emotions that I want to speak about, that I want you to avoid, are when you're breathing in your chest up high. That's very emotional in terms of anxiety is all kept there. Fear is all kept here, okay, at the top. And if it's on the way in, if you're taking short intakes of breath, that also is emotions that you don't really want when you want to perform at your best. I'm making this as simple as I can. But if you're diaphragmically breathing at the bottom in your belly, that is more relaxing. And you're taking longer deep breaths out than you are in, that is more relaxing. It's releasing. These are the core elements that I want to get across today. Now, when you're sat in the car, you are strapped in. You've got this 6-point harness all around. You can't really breathe that well. It's as tight as possible because you need it to be, not just for safety, but also so you can feel every element of the car. You can see now when the mechanic is strapping in the driver, putting the seatbelts down as hard as they can. They're leaning all their weight on the seatbelts, on the shoulder straps, getting them down, down, down as tight as they can. And then you'll see the driver sat there going, give me some more. And they're just going tighter, tighter. And the mechanic's stressed. If you haven't got a strong mechanic, they can't even get them tight enough. So it is difficult to do breathing exercises actually when you're in the car, but it's still possible. The part of the seatbelts that are at their loosest are actually around the belly most often. Just outside of the belts, you know, if you wear one, you can actually inflate around the belts. So that's perfect for us because we want to do some belly breathing. Now, you can do this as you're listening, but if you are in an anxious state or, your mind's busy and you want to calm down, the quickest way is through your breathing, and the quickest way is to do it through your belly. Now, take a deep breath in. Do it now. What's inflating? Is it your chest or is it the belly? Most people do it through the chest. You see their shoulders go up higher. And that means you're too high. This is stress up here. You don't want to be up here. You want to start breathing through the belly. So as you breathe in, the belly starts to go out. The diaphragm is actually being used, and you're actually filling up your lungs more in doing that. But it sends a different signal to the brain as well. So when you're in that car and you're in a situation like you're just going out for a race, you're feeling a bit nervous, so I might as well cut to the chase here because I can talk forever on this subject. I want you to then start to breathe in using the belly, and you do it on like a count of 4, 2, 6. So in for 4 seconds for a count of 4, hold for 2. So then it's going around everything it can. It's absorbing the oxygen. And then you breathe out for 6 to 8 seconds. So you take in a breath nice and deep and slowly, hold, and then let it out for longer. So I don't really want you to always count, because then you're thinking about that too much. But just breathe in, hold, and slowly breathe out. And as you're doing that, if you just do that for like 20 seconds in total, you say you do that 4 or 5 times, the breathe in, the hold, and then the nice long exhale, you watch what happens, or you notice what happens to your emotions. You go from this person who's holding onto the wheel tight, ready to go out and worrying about all the things and your head's busy, to this person who is now nice and calm. The mind is saying, tell me what emotion or mental state you want me to be in. When you start breathing like that, it goes, okay, you want to be relaxed, and it delivers that to you. Over the years, it knows that smooth breathing, calm breathing equals calm mind. And this kind of stupidly simple mental technique is something that drivers miss a lot. And you can see their chest up and down. But if they just took the time, 20, 30 seconds, honestly, this is all it takes, to nice deep breaths in, hold for a slight bit, and then out nice and smooth, nice and longer than you breathe in for. It's amazing what that does. And if then with your body, right? So say if that's a breathing, that's a big part of physiology. But then with your arms, you just put them down on your lap as well. So they're relaxed as well as you're doing this. It's amazing. Close your eyes if you want. It's amazing what that does. And all of a sudden, you'll get woken up by the mechanic or the engineer saying, right, it's ready to go. And you put a smile on your face. In fact, you can put a smile on your face as you're doing this breathing exercise. It's part of the body as well. Remember, we've got to do facial expression is a part of emotions as well. If you've got an angry face, your mind's going to go, okay, you want to be angry? And it'll deliver that as well. So put a nice, calm smile on your face as you're breathing in and breathing out. Watch what happens to the mind then. It's just ready. It's like a reset button. And if you then, right, after all of this, you started this for 20, 30 seconds, or you can do it for even minutes if you want to really go deep. And then you give it a command. You go to the mind side. So you've done the body, then you go to the mind side of telling the brain what to do. You say, right, we're going to warm these tires up as much as possible. I'm going to preload the hell out of this car and make sure it's ready on the brake for when we start. With a relaxed mind and a clear command of what you want that mind to do, you will feel better and you will execute. And you can see this happen when in normal day life, you forget your telephone number or you forget somebody's name and you're going, oh, what is it? It's on the tip of my tongue, and you're all angst and you can see what the breathing is. You're probably not even breathing, but if you are, it's up here. Oh, what's their name? I can't remember their name. But then something happens and you relax, bang. It remembers the name, it remembers the number, it remembers the time. You're like, wow, where did that come from? Oh, I was relaxed and I let it come out. I allowed my mind to come up with the answers. No different when you're going into the car. And you can actually do this while you're on the go. So say if you're getting tense in a race and you've got a long start finish straight, you say to yourself, right, every lap I'm going to reset myself. I'm going to start this nice breathing down the straight, out, and then I'm going to focus on the first corner. And it's amazing then how you can just keep in control of it all the time. So someone's really attacking you, they're coming in the mirrors, and you've really got to understand that, okay, for me to stand a chance with this driver that's coming now is attacking me, if I'm nervous, if I'm overexcited about the whole event, if I'm angry about it, I'm not going to get the best out of myself. I've got to allow myself to just fight as I need to fight, to allow the brain to take over, my mind, my better self, then okay, just like a samurai warrior, I'm going to make sure that my breathing is correct, and I'm going to focus on what needs to be done in the first corner. And it's calming yourself down, basically. This is the element to success. I want you to do it. See you next time.